Hey everyone, it's Lil with another Trailblazer region breakdown video. But before I get started, if you're looking for some in-depth discussion to theorycraft, ask your questions, etc. for the upcoming league, feel free to join my Discord. I also plan to use the Discord to host group events like Learner Raids or Barbarian Assault if that interests you as well. You can find me on Twitch if you want to chat and hang out with me live. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Links for both of those will be in the description. Okay, so in my previous video, I did a walkthrough of the entire desert region just to see what content is available there to help you guys get an idea of what might be useful for your league's planning. In this video, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but we'll be looking at the Tirannwn region, the elf region. So I'm going to start south and work my way north through the region. And the obvious thing that I think most people automatically think of when they see Tirannwn is Zulrah. Zulrah is a super good boss, got really good uniques with the Tan's Fang, Magic Fang, the Serp Helm, and the Uncut Onyx. And then there's just a bunch of really good general loot with runes, herbs, seeds, mana rays, and there's like a bunch of other things. Now, a lot of people think, oh, go Tirannwn, you're going to get the blowpipe, but you have to be really cautious with that. I did mention in my last video, you're going to have a huge issue with sourcing darts for your blowpipe, especially if you don't go desert. Because desert gives you the ability to smith your dart tips, and if you don't get that, then you're going to have to try and find those darts or dart tips from other sources, and I don't really think you can rely on that. So you're going to have to probably save the blowpipe for very limited use. On top of that, unless there's a relic that saves your range ammo, you're going to have to be very particular with your region choice in terms of an Ava's device. The assembler is automatically unlocked with Fremennik, so that's a huge bonus to that region. However, if you're going to settle for the accumulator, you're going to need to unlock Mauritania and Asgarnia, and that's as far as I'm aware with the information we have now. If your plan includes regions that would prevent you from getting those devices, you're going to have a pretty rough time maintaining the ammo for your blowpipe. The other uniques from Zulrah are still really good. Say if you go Kandrin, you get a Trident of the Seas, you can upgrade that to a Trident of the Swamp. It's a really good mage weapon. The Serp Helm is really useful for a lot of scenarios like Vorkath, God Wars Dungeon, Theater Blood. And then the Uncut Onyx can be useful for making an Amulet of Fury or a regen bracelet. And just in the Zul-Andra area, you have Sacred Eels. Really good AFK option if you need to be doing something else and just want RuneScape up on the side. Gives you okay fishing XP and a little bit of cooking XP and a source of scales. And on the topic of scales, you need them to create anti-venoms, which are also required to make an ornate rejuvenation pool in your POH. So if your league plans involve that at all, you're going to need Tirannwn unlocked. Additionally, they're really useful at Vorkath to deal with one of his attack styles, but they're not required for that. So these are just some things to consider. And then to the north, you have Tyras camp. Not much going on here. There's a halberd shop all the way up to the dragon halberd, but that costs 325,000 GP. I don't see this really being useful, because I envision Tirannwn more as a later region unlock, so by that point you probably won't need these weapons at all. But you might find a use for it somewhere. Moving over to the eastern part of the region, you have Lletya. There's some magic trees, runite and adamantite rocks just outside of the town, which could be useful. You just have a bunch of small shops that don't have the greatest stuff. The ranging shop has arrows up to rune, and then there's also the fruit tree patch for some farming XP. Otherwise, there's not too much happening over in Lletya. Jagex did release these region preview GIFs, which kind of give us some details on what's available in each region. Now, I don't think they're finalized, so they're subject to change, so you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. But it did include Underground Pass and the Temple of Light as part of the Tirannwn region. I went in there trying to look what's relevant in the Underground Pass. This is a spot where you can recover Iban's staff, but it's broken, and the way to fix it is in Kandrin, so don't think that's a workaround to getting an Iban staff. You're still going to need Kandrin for that. The Temple of Light is useful because that's where the Death Altar is. You got a couple of clue steps there. I believe it's an elite and a master clue step. And you can obviously runecraft your death runes, but the only feasible way is through the Abyss, which means you need the Wildy. Otherwise, I don't really see much content that can be useful in these two areas. But if you have something else that I'm completely missing, please let me know in the comments. It's not too much happening in the rest of this forest area. You have the Iorwerth camp, which has elves for some Slayer, and then there's a couple of more clue steps there. But the main focal point of this region is going to be Priff. There's a lot of content here, so I'll just do a loop and try and cover as much as I can. First off, you have Zalcano, the skilling boss that requires 70 mining and smithing. It's a very good source for ores and bars. And then you also have the anvil right next to the bank there. In that same area, you have the Tirannwn mine, which has a lot of rocks, all the way up to 4 runite rocks. That's a really good place to get your ores. Over to the southwest section, it's kind of the combat-based area. You have the Iorwerth Slayer dungeon. Has a bunch of different Slayer monsters. I'll just list them on the screen for you guys. And all these will have a good assortment of drops for you, including things like the leaf-bladed weapons from Kirask's, blood runes from Bloodvelds, and just a lot of herb seeds and alkables from the other monsters. There's a weapon and armor shop, which gives stuff mainly up to rune and a dragon halberd again. The nice thing that you probably don't use in the main game is that the armor shop NPC can actually repair your Barrow's armor. So if you're not able to do that in your POH for whatever reason in this game, and you have Boratania unlocked, this could be one of your options for repairing your Barrow's armor. To the northwest is a staff shop, a magic shop to buy a bunch of runes from. You have the agility course, which is a really good training method for that. And then my favorite bit of content in the area, and probably the entire game, is the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet has insanely good general loot, bunch of alkables, runes, arrows all the way up to dragon, and a lot of gems. In terms of uniques, you have the Blade of Seldor, which is the best slash weapon in the game, and you also have crystal armor and weapon seeds. The crystal armor and weapon seeds don't really get used that often in the main game. These will probably come in handy for a lot of people that choose Tirannwn as one of their regions. And I say that because when you have the crystal armor set equipped with a crystal bow, that crystal bow is going to get a 15% damage boost on top of a 30% accuracy bonus. So this is potentially a very good range gear option. The one downside is that all of this gear runs on charges with crystal shards. So you're going to have to make a conscious effort to maintain a decent stack of crystal shards, which can be done through many activities in Priff, including the Gauntlet, Zalcano, the agility course, cutting trees, along with a lot of other things. And along with the crystal bow, the crystal armor seed can be used to make a crystal shield, which is good at the Inferno, and the crystal halberd, which is useful at Theater of Blood. Moving over to the northeast section, you have some hardwood trees, a couple mahoganies, and 3 teaks. The teaks are really good for woodcutting training in general. You could also do tech manipulation here to get some really fast woodcutting experience. And they're also right next to a sawmill operator if you need to turn those into planks for construction. You have the crystal tree patch, which is really good farming training and a good source of crystal shards. And if you're not aware of how to get crystal acorns, I'll talk about that in a sec. And then kind of the east side of the city, there's like some small shops, doesn't really offer great items, to be honest. You have the allotment and flower patch, which is good to get secondaries for herb lore. But then in the center of the city, which I totally forgot about before making this video, you have the Elven crystal chest. I'm sure a lot of people are aware that the crystal key is used to open the crystal chest in Taverley, but say you don't pick Asgarnier for this league, you might think crystal keys are completely useless. But if you have extra crystal shards laying around, you can take that with your crystal key to a singing bowl in Priff. With 80 smithing and crafting, turn that into an enhanced crystal key. Then you can open the Elven crystal chest. It operates pretty much the same way as the crystal chest in Taverley, but the average loot here is over twice as valuable. The loot includes a variety of resources like uncut gems, coins, some rune armor, runes, seeds, and this includes the crystal acorn like I mentioned earlier for that crystal tree patch. You can also get dragonstone armor, which I'm guessing is going to be a task for the league, but it really is just fancy looking rune armor. There's really nothing else special to it. On the topic of the crystal acorn, this isn't the only way to get it. You can turn in armor and weapon seeds that you get from the Gauntlet to the NPC that's next to the crystal tree patch, and he'll give you crystal acorns in exchange for those seeds. And then one more source for these crystal acorns are crystal Implings, which you can find throughout the entire city. They also have a pretty good drop table of general resources and some higher level fletching material. This includes rune dart tips, rune darts, and dragon dart tips. So this is a potential source for darts for blowpipe users, but I have tried hunting crystal Implings before. I'm probably not doing it the best, but they're certainly not that easy to come by. I don't think it's a viable option to get darts for your blowpipe, and on top of it, during leagues, there's probably going to be even more people trying to hunt these down, so you're going to deal with a lot of competition here. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about within Priff is Pickpocketing Elves. You mainly get GP from them. They drop a few random other items, but the rare item that you want to get from them is the Crystal Teleport Seed. When you get this, you can turn it into an Eternal Teleport Crystal, and that provides you unlimited teleports to Priff and Lletya. I'm not sure how useful this is going to be within the league, but there might be some utility for it. Pickpocketing Elves can be pretty rough though, and if you really want to get this teleport seed, you can just get it from guards if you prefer combat. And to wrap it up, we can just look at all the areas that kind of surround Priff. There's some limestone rocks to the east in the Arendar Pass that you can mine for some construction materials. To the west, you actually have a good amount of shark fishing spots. They're really not close to a bank, but with unlimited run energy, I guess it's not too bad of an option if you really need some high healing food. Going north of Priff, you have the Red Chinchampa Hunter area. This is going to be a really good spot to train Hunter. In the same area, you can enter this cave and get absolutely wrecked by a level 2 rabbit. The rabbit's an Easter egg from Monty Python, but if you do manage to kill it, you get the Crystal Grail, which just makes your character walk around looking like he's drunk. There's like this random town, nothing really significant here, and then there's a singular black dragon at the top of this mountain. Anyways, that about covers it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If I missed anything, you have any comments or questions about the region, Trailblazers in general, whatever, just leave a comment below. Again, if you really want to dive deep into discussion, kind of strategize theory craft for the upcoming league, my Discord is linked in the description if you want to hop in there and start chatting with everyone. I also stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you want to come talk with me live there, link for that will also be in the description. Thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.